Hey guys, so today we're going to create this project here. I call it Spinal, but you can call it anything you want. And I think the project is going to be divided into 2 lessons because it's quite a large project, but we will see. So let's just get started. Okay, first of all we need to create a new project, so just go to Photoshop and create new. Then we need to name it, so I will name it Spinal. Next thing, we need to make sure width and height are right, so let's do width 1000 and height 1250. So basically that is a best Instagram size for your artworks, I would say. And then resolution 300, it must be pixels, make sure it's pixels, RGB color mode, and if everything is all right, just press create. Perfect. So this is our working area, and let's get started by putting this image inside. So you'll find this image in the project files, so let's just put it here. Yep, like this. And let's make it a little bit bigger, so we hold shift and drag it, we hold shift and drag it again. And let's go back a little bit, so control minus or command minus for Mac in order to zoom out like this. Now I want to make sure this is even bigger, so in order to make this even bigger, what I can do is I can hold shift and alt together, or if you're using Mac, shift and option together, and then we click here, and after that we can just drag. So when we do that, it's getting bigger from each side, because when we just hold shift and make it bigger, it's getting bigger only from one side, but when we hold shift and alt or shift and option for Mac and drag, it's getting bigger from the center. So now it's like this, and this is exactly what we need. So perfect. We can even make it a little bit smaller. Yep, perfect. So we'll just press OK here. Now let's get closer. And the first thing we need to do actually is we need to create this kind of line here, and we're going to create it using pen tool. So we press right here, and I'm going to choose curvature pen tool. But if you don't have this tool, because maybe you have an older version of Photoshop, you can also use just normal pen tool. So let's start with this one, curvature pen tool. And now we have to create the line. So let's just see how was the line created here. So I started from here, and then it goes inside his body, goes like this, makes around here, around his head, and goes out. So your line can be different, because every time you create a new line it can be different, so it doesn't have to be exactly like this. But I will try to replicate that. So let me get a little bit closer and a little bit further. Yeah, perfect. Now I can start pressing, so it's getting here inside, getting out of here like this. It's getting here. Let me go back. Yep. And then it has to go inside his body, so somewhere here. Then it comes out, makes another round, goes like this, and just moves away. So as I said before, it may be different for you, but this is the line I created. Now what we actually need to do, we have to go to path, and you have to click. If you don't have this here, you just go to window, and you can find path here. So then you have to click, okay, then you have to click twice here, and then you just name it. So let's just name this our line, I would say, and just press OK. Now we have this here saved. So now we don't want it to appear on our image anymore, so we just press here on the empty place inside path like this. We don't see it anymore. We go back to layers now. Okay, now there are a few things we actually need to do. So first we need to create this kind of circle, so we can make sure it's getting around our line in order to create this 3D line. So how do we do that? We need to go here, press right here, and choose ellipse. Now hold shift and drag in order to make a small ellipse. Yeah, like this would be perfect. And now you need to make its colors gradient. So we just go here to fill, and now we need to choose the third option and just choose any gradient that Photoshop has. You can adjust the gradient actually here. So if you press twice here on the color, you can change the colors like this. Yeah, something like this would be good if I get closer. So this is my colors. Actually these colors don't really match, so let's choose anything else. Yeah, much better. Okay, anyway, we can change the colors later, so it's not a big problem. Now we open the layers, and what do we need to do now? So first of all, let's turn off this image. Now we need to create a new layer. We go here, we press right, and we need a tool called Mixer Brush Tool. We choose it. Now we need to make our brush size a little bit smaller, so we just go here and make it smaller. Or we can use the open and close brackets in order to make it smaller or bigger, like a hotkey. Okay, wait, I need to change my language to English in order to hotkeys to work. Yeah, perfect. Now what can I do? If I hold Alt or Option if you're using Mac and press, what you can see now we have this circle appeared here. So basically that means Mixer Brush will now draw only with this gradient. So in order to make sure this happens to you, click here and make sure Load Solid Colors is not selected, because if it's selected you won't be able to select the gradient, you will be able to select only one color. So make sure this is not checked. Another thing you have to make sure this both of them are checked. Wetness is 0, load 100, flow 100, and everything should be like this, and sample layers must be for sure checked. If everything is alright for you, then just hold Alt or Option for Mac and press like this. Now if I start drawing, as you can see what happens, my 3D line starts coming. So it doesn't look very smooth right now. In order to change it, what can we do? Let's go back. So I'll remove that. Press here. And when we press here, our brush settings open. So here what you have to do, you have to make sure your spacing is 1%, because usually it's like 5%. You have to make sure it's 1%, and also hardness should be 100. Let's close this again. So now let's go back, and now let's turn off our ellipse. Let's go back to pass, press it. Now we have to press right here, stroke pass, and now we have to choose Mixer Brush Tool here from the selection, and just press OK. And when we do that, our line starts to appear. So basically our mixer brush has automatically drawn according to this line. So this is what happened. Let's just press away so the line goes away. Go back to layers. Now if we turn on the image, as we can see, the line is already here and it looks pretty nice. But we have to make sure that the line is like 3D. So by that I mean, like, for example, as you can see here, it's getting behind his legs and inside his body, behind his head, and so on. So how do we do that? We press on the line. First of all, let's press right here and make sure we press Convert to Smart Object, just to make sure this is a smart object. This is very important. Now we need to create a mask, so press here to create a white mask. Now we press right here and choose the brush tool. And now we have to choose black color. So we just press here, white and black change its colors. If you don't have them white and black, you can just press here. So now we have default colors and you can change between them. And also there's a hotkey called X in order to change between white and black. So if I press X, it's changing between foreground and background colors. So we need the black color right now. And just to show you as an example, for example, we need to make sure that this line is getting behind his leg. So if I draw with black color here, and before you draw, make sure your flow is 100, opacity is 100, mode is normal, smoothing is like this, and also make your hardness around like 70%. If I start drawing now, what actually happens, this line is getting behind his leg. This is actually what we need. But if I get close, I can see that it's not very accurate. So we actually need to get closer. We need to make our brush a little bit smaller and make sure what we do is actually very accurate. Also, in order to change your brush faster, you can just press right button and then you can see this thing here appear. So it's the same like you would go here and press, but it's much faster if you just press here right and change the size. So like this. And then we need to make sure it's getting behind his body here as well. And in order to make that, we actually need to remove it from here. Now make it a little bit bigger so we can remove this whole line here. So this is a lot of detailed work. Something like this, and then it goes behind his hand. So in order to make sure we take his hand right, what we can do, we press twice on the mask and we make sure density is like 50. And wait, oops, nope, go back, I was wrong. What we actually we need to choose our layer and make sure opacity is 50, like, yeah, exactly. Now we go back to mask, and now we can color is black, and we see where does his hand end. So we make sure what we do is just on the edge. Okay, it's going like this here, then it has to go back here again, it has to behind his back. Okay, let's go to our hardness and make it even bigger, like 85%. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, it actually takes time in order to remove that, and also it has to go away from his face. So yep, now we can again make it 100%, and if it looks okay, then we can continue on, because like if I make closer, of course there are some things that we need to change, but that's okay for now. And if it's like if you want to spend more time on that, you can of course do that in order to make sure it looks better. So because the details are actually very important, but right now I'm just doing a tutorial, so it can go a little bit wrong, because my main goal is to make sure you understand how this thing is created. Okay, let's stop for now, and we will continue during the next lesson.